what have you had to overcome to become the person that you are today?
My startup actually went bankrupt, so me and the last few people at the company and the CEO, we all collectively laid ourselves off, and I was sort of just left to figure things out. Like, I put a lot of energy and effort into like this company, and I felt genuinely lost.
What's your definition of success now?
Before it was just all about work, all about school. I think now that other half that I was missing was.
Today, I'm talking with Anthony, a 27-year-old I met in Washington Square Park. A few years ago, Anthony's startup went bankrupt, and after going through a period of feeling lost, he decided to travel through East Asia. During his travels, he met people in hostels, had deep conversations, and built meaningful relationships that he didn't have in the States. That experience, along with his startup failing, changed his life. And in this video, he shares how his journey has changed his views on success, how he's building meaningful relationships, and what balance looks like to him now. I guess first, just like, what's your name? Like, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Tony. My full name is Anthony, and I have been in New York City for around 3 years. I moved here from California, and before that, I moved to the United States from Canada after I got my degree. So I have been wandering around the United States for like 4 years, wandering being like West Coast, East Coast, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
And like, how old are you?
I am 27 right now.
What does it feel like to be 27? Because I'm personally 23.
23. Oh, really? Yeah. Really? Being 27, to contrast it with how I was at 23, I felt like there was so much just to figure out, like what I wanted to do in my job, what I wanted to be as like a person in the presence of other people, my friends, my family, like what type of role I want to have. It's like for so much of life, you're sort of on rails. It's like middle school, high school, university, that you can just kind of lay back and just have fun, you know? You can just lay back and have fun, and you don't have to think about those things. But eventually, like, you're off the rails, and you just have to figure that out yourself. And you're just like, oh my God, I have to figure this all out. I gotta figure out friends, family, romantic relationships, work, and I have to somehow learn how to pay taxes and pay my rent. Holy shit. Yeah. Holy shit. But even though it was such a shock, like just being thrown out there into the real world at 23, I mean, at some point it just had to happen, right? At some point, you just gotta do it. And I feel like there's so much more to do, but I feel so much more whole as a person than I was at 23, to give a sort of long-winded answer.
And I know we were kind of talking about this, but what sparked the idea to have this sign?
Yeah, so to go back to it, I know that there are a lot of people in Washington Square Park with signs, all of different flavors, but I had actually not like seen many of those people before I had actually started doing this. The reason this actually came to me was I was feeling so frustrated. I was feeling so frustrated about the relationships I had in NYC. I felt like I had so many opportunities to meet people. A lot of the relationships, they ended up being short, they ended up being shallow, and mainly about, you know, having fun with each other and things like that. But I was deep down, I wanted my relationships with other people to be so much more. I wanted it not just to be fun, I also wanted it to be meaningful, where we both grew to understand each other, and we both learned to support each other. And that's kind of what inspired this thing right here.
I love that. I guess that kind of brings me to, the question that I really wanted to ask you, but like, what have you had to overcome to become the person that you are today?
I think that's a really good one. I think I had to overcome my identification with, success. Traditional metrics of success, like going to the best school, getting really good grades, and having those traditional markers of success. You know, I've worked in Silicon Valley, I worked in New York City in like tech or law and finance. The way that I managed to overcome it was, in all honesty, sort of a forced situation. My startup actually went bankrupt, so me and the last few people at the company and the CEO, we all collectively laid ourselves off, and I was sort of just left to figure things out. I was like, I put a lot of energy and effort into like this company, and I felt genuinely lost. And it was only through being lost that I came to understand that there was so much more to myself that I sort of just let slip by. Like especially my relationships with people I've been, you know, just like I was talking about before, like the fun, shallow sort of thing, or I had gotten to know people, so you know, I could get a referral. Oh, maybe I could get some advice on interviewing. It was all so shallow and also work related, and I realized that I don't want it to be like this. I want to become a more full person, and it was only through all the events that sort of happened last year. Me hosteling over in East Asia. Me just honestly just being out here doing this. It's like there is a version of myself that existed in 2013 I could not have imagined that, oh, instead of, sitting at home thinking about what I'm going to do on Monday for my job, I'm sort of just out here doing this, waiting to see who's going to pass me by. It's just like it's like I've become like a radically different person. I've overcome that constant need to feel like I'm constantly driving forward. I'm becoming that more traditionally successful version of myself, more money, better titles. That sort of person is sort of gone now. It's like, and now I kind of discovering who I want to be. I'm constantly in the process of becoming who I want to be. And sometimes it takes a shock, like everyone getting laid off, to really have that happen.
Okay, I have like 2 follow-ups there. First, like,
Don't worry, we're both holding this together. This is a team.
What led you to travel, like, I think you said Southeast Asia, or was it East Asia? Okay, so what led you to like travel to like East Asia, and like how was that experience? And then also, what's your definition of success now?
What led me to travel to East Asia is that, I mean, I guess this is going even further into it. I was always a really big nerd as a kid, anime and a bit of Korean culture and things like that. So I really wanted to go there. I actually had an exchange planned in 2020, early 2020. But of course, we all know what happened in 2020. That got wiped off my slate. And it was basically straight from school and then straight to work. And I just thought to myself, I'm unemployed right now. At what point in my life am I ever gonna get the chance to do something like this? Just travel without any thoughts, burdens, or worries. And when I was out there, every night at the hostel, there would always be this new face, this new character I could talk to. And just hearing them, hearing their story, hearing what was happening in their life, like how they came to be, what they were struggling with, it made me realize, wow, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the thing I was missing the whole time. I was missing that genuine human connection, seeing a person, not just as someone I could drink with or have a good night out with, but as someone I could genuinely connect with. And after I left and I was back here in New York, I just thought to myself, oh my God, I miss that so much. I miss that energy, that late night mood when it's just you and another person chatting the night away, learning about each other, that I realized I need that. I just 100%, I need that in my life again. But how do I do it? It's like, you ask your friends how you would get better relationships. You would probably hear, join a club, wait 12 weeks so that you get close enough that you can invite them out for dinner and drinks, and then wait another 12 months so that you're at their apartment and you're chatting late at night. And it's like, maybe it's just impatience. Maybe I'm just a fundamentally impatient person, but I just found myself desiring to somehow skip that process, to just go deeper, faster. It's why that experience led me to do this right here. And what was it? You had a second question.
Yes.
Did I answer both questions?
What's your definition of success now?
Oh yes, what's my definition of success? I think fundamentally it's just become a lot more multifaceted. Before it was just all about work, all about school. I think now, as I've sort of started these new relationships I've had with strangers in the park, as I've reconnected with my old high school friends, which I haven't talked much to, I think the definition of success, there's still a work component in here. You still got to feed yourself. But another fundamental component, that other half that I was missing, was to have real meaningful relationship, to be there for people when they need me, and hopefully, when I need them, they'll be there for me. And maybe this is sort of a tangent. When I was very young, I think I had a lot of anxiety. I think I really wanted to feel like someone other than my parents loved me, that I was worth being loved without needing to be genetically related to the person. I think now I find myself thinking, I want to love as well. I want to love because I think there's a meaning in loving someone, in being there for them, that you just can't get anywhere else, honestly. I can have my personal passions. I can love dance, music. I can love all of these things I can see myself getting better at, getting one step further every day. But there's something just fundamentally special, something fundamentally human just about just loving someone, just truly being there for them when they need it. That's the type of person I want to be. And if I have that type of meaningful impact on someone, if I'm there for them when they need me, if I am someone's mentor when they're lost and confused in life, so I can sort of pass on my knowledge, being that sort of man that I, at 17 would wish I had. That's the real definition of success, to me at least. That personal component, being there for people.
That was a great answer. Very relatable too. I relate to what you're saying about like wanting to love someone. I think right now, I'm 23. I'm kind of like right now, I just graduated from college in May. So I think for me, the focus has been like establishing, I don't want to say like career, but like creating great work for myself, which for me is like doing these conversations, learning from someone and like being able to share it on a platform where people can like use the information. But have kind of not invested in my relationships, I would say, especially like romantically. So, and that's something that I'm battling right now. Like if I choose to like love someone and like go for that thing? Like, is it actually distracting me from like the work component? So it's interesting like to hear your perspective, especially as someone that's like lived kind of a similar experience, which is like starting a startup. And yeah.
I think it's impossible to know if you're always getting the balance right. Every time you choose to do something, you're always giving up something else. I mean, I have to admit, I feel like I only have the space to do this because I did establish myself in those earlier years. But the truth is, maybe that was the wrong choice. Maybe there's some beautiful relationship I could have had in the past with somebody if only I had been with them earlier. But at the end of the day, you never know. You just live your life, you go down your path, and you live with the consequences. But you always want to keep in mind that balance. There are probably a ton of people in this world who would love to have you in it. And you would probably love to have them in it. But at the end of the day, life has so many demands on us, you know, work, school, family, friends. I mean, it's honestly so much to bear. Sometimes I wish we could burn it all down and go back to our ancient days, just hunting and gathering for like 4 hours a day and just hanging out by the fire. But we don't live in those times anymore, unfortunately. We just gotta try and make that balance work. Everyone's timeline is different, everyone's path is different. We all just gotta see. We bear the weight of whatever we choose.
I guess just my last question, what's something that you value now that you didn't value back in like your early 20s? Or it could even, you can answer a different question, which is just like, what did you value back then that you clearly do not value now?
I think I value, this quality of generosity that certain people have, especially in terms of older adults that are willing to sort of take the time out for like say for example, someone younger, willing to be there with them, give them advice about, you know, how their experiences were in work, in life, in romance. That type of generosity, I don't think I really understood why someone would do that. I mean, don't you have your own life to live? Don't you have your own things to do? I mean, after all, you're a busy man or busy older woman. But I've come to see now there's such value in that sort of thing, not just for the person that's receiving the help, the advice, but for the person themselves. You're passing on your knowledge, your sort of legacy of all the knowledge and experiences that you've accumulated. And I think that is honestly the thing I've grown to appreciate, especially talking to some younger people in the park. Sometimes I still feel like I am still that college student who just graduated, even though it's been like 5 years. And I realized talking to some people that I actually can be of use to them. I actually can give them some useful advice. And I realize now that, wow, I kind of get it now. I kind of understand why someone would take their time out to help somebody, because you want to pass something on. You see in that other younger person a hint of your struggle, and you think to yourself deep down, what would I have wanted when I was younger? I would have wanted someone generous. I would have wanted someone who would be willing to take that time with me. Even though, you know, I didn't appreciate it back then, I can really appreciate it now, especially after becoming the person I sort of am. Man with the whiteboard and whatnot. Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this.
No, of course. Of course, man.
Thank you. Okay, so that wraps up my conversation with Anthony. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Really helps the channel. Channel is currently at 635 subscribers, definitely trying to get the 1K. Also, if you haven't already, check out this video here. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Peace.